This is the Qure Red Light Therapy Mask, and some dermatologists and beauty influencers say it's the best red light therapy mask out there. Well, I'm going to find out if that's the case because I'll be testing this using my research-backed 100-point scoring system, looking at 4 categories, and at the end of the video, I'll share this score and compare it to its competitors, and yeah, find out if it's actually worth the price and if it is the best. I'm affiliated with some of the companies mentioned in this video, and I will earn a commission if you buy through my links or discount codes. Products were provided to me free of charge, and all opinions are my own. This is not medical advice. Okay, round one, let's start with comfort and usability. And I have to say, when you put this on for the first time, it is a rather comfortable, snug feel. The silicone material allows it to stay in place. It fits nice and firmly against the skin, but you can still breathe easily and talk freely. Saying that, I did feel some pressure on my nose, but my nose is larger than most, so it's probably not going to be a problem for you. And also on my forehead. My wife tried this as well and she noticed the same thing. Still though, sessions with this mask are so short, only 3 minutes, I don't think it's going to be an issue. Likewise, there was no issue with sweat buildup or discomfort. The main issue I had with this mask was setting up the strap. To be honest, my wife and I were banging our heads together, not literally, but nearly, trying to figure out how to install it. Finally, we thought we cracked it. All of the pressure of the strap was on this plastic pin on the outside. Worse than that, the next day, this pin kept popping out and it was doing my head in. Even looking at the manual, I still couldn't figure it out. Eventually, though, everything clicked and I realized the strap, the pin, actually goes on the inside here. And now it's super snug. Now, I say all this because it was very frustrating to not only install, but because it kept popping off. And the other thing is I've watched a few other reviews on this mask online because they're everywhere. And I've noticed a lot of people haven't installed the strap properly. So yeah, you have a mask that is actually very well designed, comfortable to fit, but the strap setup was lacking. Saying all of that, I still give it a score of 13.5 out of 15 for fit. Next, we look at operation. And to be honest, the Qure mask is near perfect. It's extremely simple to use. There's one button at the top, you hold it down to power it on, and then it's simply one button to change between modes or turn it off again. Like, super simple. No cords, no remote controls, no screens, no multiple buttons. It's, like I said, it's awesome. Saying that though, there is an application which you can download and that syncs to the mask and allows you, of course, to control the mask, but it also allows you to track sessions, set reminders. Personally, I don't find these useful, but you may be different. The cool thing though with this app is it does allow you to change which wavelengths, which mode runs in different areas. So right now you can see it is running in the red anti-aging mode. If I press the button, it goes to the purple anti-acne mode, which is actually blue and red wavelengths. More on this soon. But with the app, you can go in and choose which zones are going to be treated with the anti-acne light and which zones are going to be treated with anti-aging. So hopefully you can see this on screen. But what I have running here is the anti-aging up top and the anti-acne down the bottom. The instructions packaged with the mask are really good. It explains a lot about the product, the app, but also a bit behind red light therapy and the different wavelengths and how they all work. Now you charge the mask through the USB port at the center here. It is a hard shell designed, so typically I say they're not suitable for traveling, but this is reasonably small compared to a lot of other hard shell masks on the market. So I think it would still be okay for travel. And it doesn't have any timer adjustments, but because of the app and the cool features in there, I am giving it a good score for the operation round. The only letdown is that there is no way to completely disable near infrared light. You can run it in anti-aging mode, which runs red, amber, and near infrared, or you can run it in the anti-acne mode, which has the blue and the near infrared. Some people are cautious about near infrared overexposure in case it leads to hyperpigmentation. So some people want devices with no near infrared. I give it a score of 9 out of 10 for operation, which means the first round, it gets a score of 22.5 out of 25. Now, so far I've tested 10 red light therapy masks. You can check them all out in my channel. And this is the highest that any mask has scored for this round. So the Qure is off to a great start. I can see why people like it. Okay, so we know it fits well and it's easy to run, but is it putting out good therapeutic power? First up, let's talk wavelengths. So I test this device using my spectrometer, and as you can see on screen, there are multiple wavelengths in this device. In the anti-aging mode, you have 607 nanometer red/amber light. Qure are calling this amber. It is quite close to red. So yeah, let's say it's amber light. This has some anti-inflammatory benefits, helps with skin tone and skin texture. The big ones though are the red and the near infrareds. So we have 630 nanometer red light and also 660 nanometer red light. These are the gold standard when it comes to skin rejuvenation and skin health. It's what helps with the fine lines, the wrinkles, skin tone, all those good things. Then we have 880 nanometer near infrared light. Now this penetrates a little bit deeper into the skin, helping with collagen, elasticity, and also circulation, which is great when it comes to skin health. What's interesting is we typically see 830 or 850 nanometer near infrared light, but Qure have used a slightly longer wavelength, 880. It's still going to provide good benefits. However, the research on 880 isn't as strong as, say, 850. When I switch it to the anti-acne mode, you see two key peaks. The first is in the blue light at 411 nanometers, and the other is your 630 nanometer red light. So to our eye, this looks purple, but it's actually two different wavelengths. There is also a teeny bit of near infrared light in there as well. So given all of these wavelengths, I give it a score of 8.5 out of 10. The only things missing for a perfect score are the green wavelengths and our deeper penetrating near infrared. All right, now for the dose, the fluence. This is the power output, the amount of light photons coming from those wavelengths we've just tested that are hitting the skin. And unfortunately, this is where the Qure stumbles, and stumbles quite badly. So first up, on the Qure website and on their manual, it's saying that these LEDs in this mask are putting out about 70 milliwatts over centimeter squared. This is a very high number. I was surprised when I read this. I've been testing red light therapy devices for 5 or 6 years now. And yeah, even some heavy duty metal enclosed red light therapy panels don't put out 70 milliwatts. So I fired up my spectrometer and the numbers I got were ranging from about 5 milliwatts through to 11 milliwatts. I took a bunch of readings and the average I got was 8 milliwatts over centimeter squared, much lower than the 70 that was in the manual. I think the issue is that Qure are not testing properly, or they're overhyping the power output, which is commonly seen in the space. But it's also important to note that there is a thick layer of silicon over the LEDs, so a lot of energy would be lost with the light trying to penetrate that. Now, an irradiance of 8 is meaningless without time. Now that we have the irradiance figure, this is the amount of energy put out in one instant, we can calculate the dose. So the session runtime on the Qure mask is 3 minutes. It's built in by default. Qure market this as a benefit when comparing it to other masks. So that means you're going to get 1.5 joules over centimeter squared when running this mask for its default 3-minute session. Now that's low. It's very low. And it's actually quite disappointing. As you can see on the screen here, we've spent a lot of time looking at the research and tried to determine what we think is the most optimal power dose for skin rejuvenation. I'll put links to the studies and articles that have gone into this down below. Now, the sweet spot we think is between 5 and 9 joules. And in fact, as you go higher than that, you're still going to get a lot of benefits, but eventually it does drop off. Now, with a figure of 1.5, it is very, very low. It's a long way from this optimal range. Now, what's crazy is if the runtime for the Qure mask was, say, 9 or 10 minutes, you would actually be getting a really good dose. It would be very close to that optimal window. So the great thing for you is if you have this mask, just do 2 or 3 or 4 sessions back to back, and you will be getting adequate power. But I always do my scoring based on the default time because that's how most people are going to use it. Therefore, I'm only giving it a score of 3 out of 15, meaning this round it scores 11.5 out of 25. Hey, if you're finding value in this, hit the like button. But also, if you think others should be watching this, maybe your friends bought this or thinking of buying one, or you've seen a video saying that this was the perfect red light therapy mask, then I ask if you can share this video with them. I'm actually affiliated with this company, so if you do want to go and buy it, hey, it's a win-win for all. But I think it's important that people know the hard numbers behind these masks. Okay, now for coverage quality, what I want to do here is look at how well the light is hitting the face. In fact, I score it across 10 different facial zones. Now, a big factor behind how well a mask performs here is the amount of LEDs. This mask actually has 80 LEDs. 80 little LEDs that you see scattered around the mask. Now, each LED has 2 chips in it. This means it can put out 2 different wavelengths. Therefore, it has 160 LED chips. And I have to say, that's actually quite low for a mask of this price. I only give it a score of 4 out of 10 for the LED chip count. Masks that have over 500 chips, and they exist, get full points here. I also want to mention that the mask effectively has 3 different types of LEDs. One LED runs 607 amber and 630 nanometer red. Another LED runs 660 and 880 nanometer near infrared. And the third LED type runs 410 nanometer blue and 630 nanometer red light. This is the anti-acne mode. It may be hard to see, but these two LEDs, for instance, are putting out two different colors. And then when we turn it into blue mode, we see that those LEDs switch off and then this one turns on. So as you can see, there's not really a lot of LEDs running. There's a lot of areas where you're not getting coverage on your face, even though there may be an LED there. Okay, so now for zone coverage. Now, previously I said the Qure stumbled after that flying start. Well, here's where it gets trampled on as the rest of the pack run over it. Let's start from the top of the head and work our way down. For the forehead, there's only 14 LEDs in total. Remember, not all of them are running in each mode. But worse, the mask just doesn't sit high enough on your head, so you're not getting much coverage there. For the temples, coverage is minimal at best. It just doesn't come around far enough. When we look at the crow's feet and under eyes, the eye opening is just too large and the LEDs are just too far off. So there's just very little coverage in those key areas. With the nose, there's literally nothing in the center by the bridge. And the nose itself, you can see 4 LEDs in this area. 2 are running in the anti-acne mode and 2 are running in the anti-aging mode, but there's nothing through the center. They're only on the side. There's also no exposure on the lips. The chins have very little exposure, and there's completely nothing on the jawline, again, because the mask is far too small. The one area that is well covered are the cheeks, but every single mask I've tested so far also covers this area well. That means I'm only giving it a score of 5 out of 15 for the zone coverage. Now remember, if you want to take a deep dive and look at all my scoring notes, the full scoring breakdown, check the link down below because it's all over at my blog. So for round 3, it gets a total score of 9 out of 25, which is unfortunately the lowest score of any mask I've tested so far. I do have more to say on this, and I'll wrap it up at the end. If you do have one of these, don't freak out. Don't think you have a dud. It's still going to work. It's just that there's masks out there that do a much better job of covering the face in the therapeutic light compared to this mask. Okay, finally, we look at price and peace of mind. Now, the retail price is just under $400. I do have a 10% off link if you order down below. That saves you 10%, gives me a small commission. So it means you can get this for about $350 US. That gives it a score of 14 out of 20 for the price round, and I'm giving it a 2 out of 5 for peace of mind. It's got a standard 1-year warranty, a 30-day return period, and the company has been around for a few years now, so it's all legit on that front. Meaning for the final round, it gets a score of 16 out of 25. Okay, so after all my testing and all my number crunching, the Qure mask gets a score of 59 out of 100. Obviously, it scored exceptionally well in the fit and operation, but when it comes to power, dosing, and coverage, it really falls short. It's quite a shame because this mask does do a lot of things really well. I've already covered the comfort, but it is also using some really good wavelengths, and the novel zone feature through the app is quite cool. But now for the big questions. Is this going to work? Is this going to lead to anti-aging benefits, skin rejuvenation benefits, and all these crazy before and afters we see online? Well, to be honest, yes, it is. It is using clinically validated wavelengths for skin health, and this light is still hitting the face. It's not like it got no points for coverage. There are LEDs in here, and it is going onto the face. And even though the dosing is very low, there's still going to be a benefit from using this just for the 3 minutes. Now, I actually wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people are overdosing. Well, no, they're not overdosing. They are using this more than recommended, which is thus putting it into that therapeutic optimal window. I mean, I see this all the time. I have a Facebook group with 20-odd thousand members in it, talking all things red light therapy. And I get people saying all the time how they're using their mask 3 or 4 times a day, 10 minutes, 20 minutes back to back. It's quite common. I guess people just think more is better. Usually that's not the case, but when it comes to this mask, well, yeah, more is actually better. And this could explain why some people are getting really good results. So is it worth your $350 US? Well, again, it will lead to results. It is comfortable and it does have some cool features. It's just not perfect. Far from it, in fact. I'm actually hoping that Qure come out with a Gen 2 mask and resolve a lot of these issues because, yeah, then it will be an exceptional mask. But if your budget is $350, there are a lot of good alternatives out there. So let's look at them. Firstly, if you can stretch your budget a little bit, you can check out the Current Body Series 2 mask. This sells for just over $400, but for that extra cost, you're getting more LED chips, you're getting much better coverage on the face, and you're also getting a much better power output. But some people will be disappointed that it doesn't have blue LEDs. An even more expensive option is the Therabody TheraFace. This has better dosing, way better coverage, some really cool features as well, such as vibration. However, it's not very portable. In fact, it's quite heavy to wear. And of course, it comes in at a much higher price point. Now, if you want to save some money, then I highly recommend checking out the Nanoleaf LED mask. You can get this mask for $250. Now, it comes with over 400 LED chips. You're getting a good power dose and good light coverage, and you're still getting the red, the near infrared, and the blues, though you do miss out on the amber light. But it's not quite as premium as the other masks I've mentioned, and it doesn't have an app function. But if you're still confused, let me send you my red light therapy buyer's mask guide. Click the link down below, enter your email, and I'll send it through to you. And also check out some of my other videos because I'm comparing a lot of red light therapy masks. In fact, I'm even going to do a big showdown and compare 25 of them all in one video. So hang around for that. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.